Hello, everyone. Hope everybody is having a wonderful, wonderful Thursday out there. It is a pleasure to be here to see you guys for the third episode of Philosophonics. If you're new to this experience, this is a series that I'm starting as of January this year that talks a little bit about music theory, a little bit about sound and how sound works, and philosophy, all sprinkled in with a little bit of performing, all things that I love and I'm grateful to share with you all. So, I know many of you guys have had snow or colder weather this week. So, hope you are staying warm out there and bundled up and all nice and cozy. So, grab a blanket, get yourself warm and comfortable, and we're just going to get started with a couple original songs here this evening. The first one I'm going to play for you is called Enough, and it's on my new album Dose. And it's when I play it live, I kind of go into a longer meditative version. So hopefully this will get you in kind of a Zen state. Tonight is going to be a very interesting class involving tuning and the musical comma, which we talked about last time, and just some other really cool stuff involving sound. So tonight we'll be wrapping up the section that I've kind of chunked together on tuning systems, and then we'll be moving on next week with some other amazing topics. But yeah, hope you guys enjoy, and here is enough for you. What happened to your face, love? The wrinkles used to be much softer than what happened to your heart, love? Your song used to be much louder than this. What happened to your mind, love? You used to dream in simple. And I swear that trying to kill us, and I swear that trying to take us down. What happened to your face, love? The wrinkles used to be much softer than this. What happened to your heart, love? Your song All right, you guys, that was enough. And welcome, Julie. Glad to have you here. Hope you had a wonderful, wonderful week. You and Nate, shout out to you guys. Thanks for the love. And thank you for liking that song. It finally made it onto an album. I've had it for, geez, I was watching a video from like 2007 the other day of me playing that song. So I'm grateful that it finally got out there to the world. And speaking of other old songs that finally got out there to the world, you know, life is short, and this song is kind of about that. And so, oddly enough, this is also a mutual friend of someone watching. Talked about this last time. This is a song Fires, and I hope you guys enjoy it and get your fire on this week. your voice on fire. Make them feel the heat. Set your voice on fire. Make them all believe. Set your voice on fire. Make them feel the heat. Set your voice on fire. Make them all believe. Make them all right, and this last original I'm gonna play for you guys is called Lots, and it is about slowing your world down for a minute, just chilling out, not worrying about so much stuff so much of the time. So this last one is called Lots, and then we will get into the talking part of Philosophonics, episode 3. Welcome, everybody. I am scared. I'm going through a lot right now, trying to change into the one I'm fighting for. The one I know that if I stand up straight and sing a little louder, life's got much in store for me beyond this body, this space, this time that floats away to freedom. Slow your mind down, let it be. You are everything that you need. Slow your mind down, let it be. Nothing's left here, nothing's left to do. 'Cause nothing's wrong, yeah, nothing's wrong with you. I ask why you're doing it again to me, but I pick myself up and I shout to the heavens. I will not stand for this. I will fight for freedom. I'll fight for bliss beyond these walls. Nothing's wrong, yeah. Nothing's wrong with you. Nothing's wrong, yeah. Nothing's wrong with you. All right, you guys. We are now going to swap over to our serious we gonna talk about stuff screen. Boom. This is our gray background for when we're going to talk about stuff. So, last week we talked about the problem of the musical comma. So, a quick review of it if you're just watching for the first time. Basically, we talked on our first episode about the harmonic overtone series, which is a series of patterns that exist in nature via ratios with frequency. Some of those being the octave, the 2 to 1. So that means an octave higher in pitch is twice the frequency, etc. And we talked about some of those relationships in the scale, the Western musical chromatic scale. And the problem of the comma being that if we are to use perfect fifths tuning, many other different tuning systems for that matter, then we will always end up never getting quite back to a perfect octave, or we will have some other wonky problems. So, as I mentioned last week, nobody has really solved it. And there are some notable solutions that I want to go into with tuning systems and that sort of jazz. And really, tonight is going to be more of a guidepost for things that you might want to Google for more information. There are just so many different tuning systems and ways in which the scale and frequency are approached within different cultures and music that there is literally no way for me to explain every single one of them in the length of one stream, unless it was like a marathon and I was getting pumped full of IVs of liquid or something like that. So just for your sake, I'm just gonna mention some things tonight, and if you'd like to learn more about them, uh, Google them, and if you're having a hard time finding more about them, just hit me up. I will direct you to where you can find more information about all of these different tuning systems that we are going to talk about. So, one way that we a term that we use for when everything is tuned to the harmonic overtone and ratios like that is called just intonation. It's just a word we use. I don't know if it's like the justice of the just intonation. Let's pretend like it is because that makes it fun. But it's just a word we use. So the way that we've been talking about with the perfect, beautiful ratios and finding the intervals via that way, that's more along the lines of what we call just intonation. Well, people started making some different options to solve the problem of the musical comma. And the main problem was that musicians were trying to play their instruments together. So, what that meant is that all of them had to be calibrated to a tuning system that would allow them to change keys and to go from major or minor chords and all be in tune with each other. So that was really one of the main problems that they were addressing this for, is because these ensembles, needed a standard. But some common solutions that were come up with, I promise I can speak the English language, was the quarter comma mean tone tuning system. And what that one basically was, as someone said, all right, well, we've got the perfect fifth ratio of the frequencies. So what we're going to do is cheat it just a little bit And we'll take a little bit out of each of those fifths. So shorten the frequency math just a little bit in order to account for the musical comma. That was really cool, except for it didn't really, excuse me, work for all the different keys. But that is something that people stuck with for quite a while. It does result in something called the wolf note. Rawr, the wolf note. I love how we have these crazy terms for when something's out of tune. So the wolf note is what results when these things don't always line up with each other in a nutshell. I'm not going to go into a lot of math tonight because really that's for you if you're interested in it. But basically, there is some resulting wonkiness from that method as well. Then we've got in the 16th, through the 16th and 17th century, the notion of well tempered came about. Bach even wrote about that, and many of the composers were familiar with this concept due to the fact they were dealing with large amounts of stringed instruments and small orchestras and chamber ensembles that all had to play with each other. And so they kind of came up with a well-tempered system, which solved a lot of the problem. What it did basically mathematically was let some of the intervals follow those ratios and be beautiful. And with the sacrifice of some other notes in the scale, that did not also align themselves with each other as they should have in summation. So well tempered happened, boom, 16th, 17th century. Then we came into what we use today on a fixed instrument, which a fixed instrument is something that I cannot tune this. Okay, pianos can be tuned, but they have to have a guy or a girl that tunes them with quite a bit of work. This keyboard can be tuned, but its natural state is equal temperament, as are many other things that are what we put under fixed instruments, where they can't just be like, tuned real quick on increments smaller than a semitone, right? That's the half step is like the smallest I can go. I can pitch bend, but that's just fun. All right, so equal temperament is where instead of messing, it keeps the octave, right? But then it divides the octave equally to result in the notes. So that way, no matter what key you're in, you still have the same distance between the notes. And there is quite a bit of math in that. So it can get really crazy, but just know that equal temperament is what we're in right now. And I want to take a little bit of a sidetrack with this to talk about sound and how it is working and the difference in these small adjustments that were made for equal temperament. So sound essentially is pressure, the vibration is pushing and pulling just like this whenever we see it. And so if we have something that is a perfect stable ratio, then it's kind of like in harmony together. But if you have something that is slightly different than that ratio, then it can become unstable, kind of like those patterns that we saw last week where they would become unstable for a minute and then they would lock in. So as far as us adjusting for equal temperament, in my book, that's not really a solution either, because essentially everything is just a little bit out of tune. We've just become adjusted to it, and all the music that we listen to in the Western world is in that tuning for the most part. Our culture has just adjusted to these slight out of tunements that from equal temperament. So that's kind of what we settled on, equal temperament, because boom, then we had a way for everybody to play with everybody, good times. We can all jam out now, except we might be messing with the natural frequencies of nature. We might be hurting ourselves or doing something awry. However, who really knows? Once again, because there are other cultures that use many, many different other types of tuning systems. So, before I get to that, just one more little note. There are many, many people that have tried to solve the musical comma. We still don't have a great solution, like a comprehensive solution that solves all the problems with it, both the mathematical and the performance problems. People have gone into stuff that's called microtonal, which is distances that are less than this half step right here. So we consider there to be 100 CENT cents between each half step. That is just the measurement unit that is used to talk about that. So between there, I've got 100 different increments that I could use. Really, it's infinite though, if you think about it. Anyways, microtonal, if you're interested in more of that stuff, that can get very, very crazy. And yes, so the other cultures that I want to talk about, there's some really, really cool stuff with uh, the ways in which others tune music. Ours, pretty mathematical, pretty geometrical, and so are these other cultures, but it just gets kind of really interesting to me. So in Asian cultures, there are so many different particular scales that are not tuned to our way of tuning an equal temperament. Um, they tend to use a lot of pentatonic scales, and all that means is there are 5 notes in the scale, whereas in our normal one, like the major one, we have 7/8 if you include the octave. But they use a lot of the times 5 notes. So there are many different types of pentatonic scales. Don't let someone tell you that there's just one. But very common ones are eliminating certain notes of the major scale. Right? So I'm only using the first, the second, the third, the fifth, and then the sixth, and then the octave. So I'm not worried about the fourth or the seventh, which is crazy because that's an interval called a tritone. And most church music avoided it for several centuries because they thought it was evil. So that's another keyword for tonight. If you want to look it up, tritone. Ooh, crazy. Uh, Anyways, so there is a lot of pentatonic going on there, and let's just say that they don't always concern themselves with playing in the keys like we do. They do have things that we would call keys, but uh, I have heard, and I could be totally incorrect, but that some of these are actually in tune with like feng shui and nature and that kind of thing. So there's a lot of different. I am no expert on this. As I was discussing with my husband earlier, I'm not an expert on any of these things. I just know a little bit about a lot of it. Okay, so Asia has that. India, they break theirs into 7, which is a complete oversimplification of it. It's actually much more than 7. There is the Arab tone system, which uses 17 or 24 tones that they split the octave into. And I read somewhere today that they have up to 70 different modes. So that's pretty crazy. All that goes to say that our little Western selves over here, with our little equal temperament, is real cute, and there are many, many other ways to slice that apple. Is that an analogy that people use? I don't know. Hello, Major Lee Cunningham. I am going to read your comment. He says, if you think about it, all of music is formed from a compromise. The grand staff is a compromise between multiple musical perspectives. I love that so much. First of all, welcome. I'm super glad that you're here this evening. And I absolutely agree because um, people have found solutions in various ways, but there's never been the perfect solution. And I had the pleasure of visiting with a sound healing person here in town who knows a great deal about a lot of this, plus more than I do. And I was like, man, so is there a universal monochord? Like, is there something that we can see in everything, in every culture, in every tuning system that is 100% the perfect answer? And really, it's no. Nobody has the perfect solution to breaking up sound, or for that matter, the electromagnetic spectrum. One thing that I do want to say that is pretty evident to me is that the octave, the 2 to 1, something doubling itself, is absolutely present in most scales, most cultures, and even, I was watching about how the cell level, if you think about it, really what happens is there's one, then it splits into two, then that two splits into four. Well, that's following the pattern of the 2 to 1 ratio. Obviously, the doubling of anything is. And so I think that in my book, that is pretty set in stone. And then vice versa, the division by two, splitting something into half, um, is pretty obvious that that exists as well. So I'm glad that you brought that up because yes, I totally agree. It is a compromise. So we have made various compromises with the intervals to be able to play together and to kind of have a common language to build upon music theories. However, there is one other thing that I would like to mention that was brought up in my conversation with a sound healing individual that seems to be a constant as well. And that would be 432 hertz is the suggested frequency of our universe. And that seems to be accepted by many, many scholars and people. And of course, me getting into it with him questioning, well, is that the rotations per minute of our universe? Because the frequency is cycles per second, then is that how many the cycles are and all of those things? So I'm sure that is a rabbit hole that we could all go down about where that 432 comes in. Uh, but that is a number that's thrown out there a lot as a universal constant with frequency. Also, the solfeggio frequencies, which is something he actually had and showed me. It was so amazing. So I'm so grateful to you. You know who you are. I don't know if you want to shout out, but I'm grateful for yesterday's talk and demonstrations. Uh, those were evidently discovered by some Benedictine monks, and they are originally 6, but now 9 frequencies that I could not math my way into figuring out the relationship between them. He played them for me yesterday, and they definitely ascend in pitch, but then it's sometimes deceptive because you hear so much of the harmonic overtones. I was like, did the pitch ascend or descend? Who knows right now? So as far as tuning systems and who's right there, I mean, it runs the gamut. So I will put that all in the description, all these different lists that I'm kind of naming off. There's, of course, the 528, which people think is like the resonance of love and all kinds of stuff. So to wrap up the tuning in general, conclusively, here's what I'm suggesting, that the octave is important. We can't disregard the fact that those other ratios exist, but there's not really a perfect answer. So really, it's one of those shine your own light, to be yourself. And I even have seen a quote that says, um, some cultures believe that, I think it was the Aborigines maybe, that say if we didn't resonate our very own frequency of our individual self, uh, then the universe will be lacking. So I guess the beat to your own drum, or drum to your own beat. You guys, you smell what I'm cooking. That analogy is the point of it all, is that whatever tuning system sounds right to you at the time, that's what you should go with, because we don't have the answer, yeah, the perfect answer, especially for all the different applications of music and sound. I do want to briefly talk about something, which is that in grad school, I spent a semester in independent study on tuning systems because I'm so fascinated with them. And my professor was like, okay, I know what you're saying about how equal temperament could be causing cancer and messing with our chakras and all this other crazy stuff that you want to throw in here, Ashley. He's like, but we have 3 months left. So, I mean, I don't know if you want to sit here and complain about it the whole time, or if you have a solution, I'll gladly entertain you. So he basically charged me to come up with a solution for this age old problem. And for some strange reason, I went back to the electromagnetic spectrum and thought about how visible light is on the spectrum. Well, what did we learn in elementary about visible light? Roy G. Biv, right? So let's count that: ROYGBIV, 7. Oh my gosh, guess what else has 7 notes? A scale, right? So I was like, man, could we just use Plato's 2-to-1 octave and just go up to the visible light spectrum, find out what Roy G. Biv each is in frequency, and then just divide by 2 a bunch of times to get to the audible sound spectrum? Well, here is what I discovered. I'm probably not the first one to figure this out, but excuse my ghetto spreadsheet. This is showing what is some common suggested frequencies for each of the Roy G. Biv. And as you can see, I divided by 2, 2, 2, 2, 2 to get the first audible frequency within the 20 to 20,000 hertz range, which it was obviously pretty high. So then I keep dividing by 2, second audible frequency, third, etc. When it boils down to it, in any octave, the Roy G. Biv actually makes its own scale. And I'm not going to be able to play it exactly because why? I'm a fixed instrument. But essentially, your red is around here: A flat, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and I'm not sure why I didn't put violet on the spreadsheet, but I'm pretty sure it's somewhere around here. And then back up to the octave. So that is one thing that I discovered, is that ratio makes almost like a major scale. So yeah. And to which my professor was like, that's fascinating and crazy. And that's where we left it. All right. So if you guys have any questions on tuning systems or what we covered with the scales, if you want to get deeper into a certain topic, always, of course, feel free to reach out. And if I don't know the answer competently, honestly, then I will direct you to a place I know where you can find it. So, yes, ask questions anytime you want. And the philosophical part of tonight is, what about all of this actually matters? So do the ratios matter? Like I said, I really feel like the octave matters, but what is the most important thing in the way that we tune instruments to be played, the way we react to those tunings, and the ratios between those tunings themselves? Obviously, it's different in so many different cultures, and there are psychological studies that show uh, that our culture does affect how we perceive certain intervals as certain emotions. But one thing, like for instance, that's always fascinating to me is if I play this chord and then I play this chord, most people would say that the first chord sounds happier than the second chord. And all that is the difference between them is one note, the third being major or minor. Why does that affect us emotionally? Does that have something to do with the fact that this is a little bit faster of a vibration in relationship to this or to the other notes? These are philosophical questions that I would love for you to let just kind of simmer around in your brain, because I have yet to find anyone that knows the definitive correct answer. And if you do, please let us all know. Um, and the second part of that is, will we ever understand? Are we meant to understand, like the sound patterns that I showed on the wall last week? Are we meant to fully understand those? Because it's like I always say, at an intuitive level, I can tell you, yeah, that sounds sad. At an intuitive level, I play music and I compose music that I know will affect myself and others in certain ways, right? So like that progression always sounds really majestic to me. So if I'm wanting to be majestic, I'm gonna use that. So with all this math and all of this geometry, etc., that we've talked about, we still really don't understand exactly what's happening on that intuitive level with tunings, and when it goes into our body. So that is the question that I would like to pose for you all to think about this week. And that kind of concludes the chat part of tonight. I wanted to keep it a little bit less cerebral than last week because I feel like we went really hard. I know I did on a lot of very cerebral things. And so tonight I thought it'd be great just to kind of wrap it up with, these are the wild cards in the mix. And then, of course, the question of will we ever know what is constant, and are we meant to know? Now we find ourselves over halfway through our week. Here together in this moment. So just get comfortable. Find a way that works for you, that you can relax your body. Let your eyes gently close. muscles of your face relax. Your neck. Let your jaw relax. Your shoulders, your arms, your upper back, and your lower back, your hips, and your legs. Feel the weight of gravity, and let your muscles just let go. And let's take a deep breath together. If we haven't done one all week, this will be our first conscious big breath. Breathe in. Fill your lungs with love. And breathe out. Let it all out. All the energy that you don't want. Sometimes we can be like Velcro, walking around all week and things stick to us. And those things get heavy if we don't let them go. So I invite you to take this moment and just imagine them all washing off. Let yourself feel lighter. Let yourself feel peace. And now together, let's imagine sending love into our own body, letting it fill every cell. Once you can imagine that love inside of your body flowing, expand that love to the room around you. Send that love through the space that surrounds your body. People around you. Only you can send this particular vibration of love. sending the love out through your city, out through your state, your country, your world. See how the world is made up of all of the frequencies and all of the colors, and that we need all of them. And let yourself just pour out love out into space. For just a moment. This is your song. This is your music. This is your symphony. This feeling, the power of your love. Let us all vibrate together in harmony. Slowly deepen your breath. Wiggle your fingers and toes. And open your eyes. Let love be with you this week and always.